Hey guys, I'm here with Kyle Higgins in Chicago, Nightwing's town, talking Nightwing. Is this so? You've just moved Nightwing to Chicago, and you live here?
Yes. Well, I don't live here. I grew up here. I live in Los Angeles now, but I love that we can say Nightwing's town.
Yeah.
I hope that catches on.
All Chicagoans are going to be talking like that. So you wanted to have Nightwing get an Italian beef and ride the L.
Yeah, he'll be going to Pizzeria Uno in
Classic
a couple issues here. For legal reasons, it won't be called Uno. It'll be maybe Pizzeria Trace. I don't know.
Much cooler.
But or Pizzeria One. That's probably the better.
Yeah, Americanize it a little bit.
Yeah.
So why the move? He's redefining himself, sort of moving out from Dad's basement a little bit.
Well, actually, that was one of the aspects that I wanted to avoid. I didn't want to just make the move based on, emotional state or frame of mind, or saying, well, I want to get out from under a shadow, because even though this is the new 52, I've seen that before. Right. That's certainly, there's certainly kind of an aspect of that just intrinsically with him moving, where he's completely on his own, and he's halfway across the country from Gotham and Batman and things and places like that. But the core motivation for the move is that Tony Zuko, the man that killed his parents, is still alive. So I wanted to have a strong enough hook that, as a reader, when you learn that Zuko is still alive, you're cheering for Nightwing to leave town, to chase after him. So.
And now he was just sort of a gangster. He's not like a supervillain by any means. Is he going to remain just like sort of a jerk, or is he going to move on and become sort of a real nemesis for Nightwing?
Well, actually, the idea behind Zuko right now is a little bit different. As you see in issue 19, he's working for the mayor of the city, but there's a life there that he's built in the last couple of years since he faked his death and went on the run and reestablished himself in Chicago. And that life is, it's built on a lie, obviously, but he's happy. And as we're going to get into in issue 20, there's, he has a family now. He has a wife and son, and Big Bad Nightwing coming to town to bring him back to Gotham to stand trial for his crimes. It threatens to tear away the very things that Tony has built. So I wanted to do something a little different with him. I didn't want to just do evil mobster who's still on the run and is still a completely evil dude.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring a little bit more of a little bit of a grayer kind of take on him. So, if we do our jobs right, maybe you're rooting for him.
Wow, rooting for Zuko.
I'm not saying that you will.
Strong take.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, I don't know that you're going to read the book and say, yeah, I totally see why that dude cut those trapeze wires. But
right. But that's great though. Like a little complexity in there,
yeah,
so it's not just
trying to make him a little more interesting,
And Nightwing's sort of down and out. He does not. He doesn't have the wealthy lifestyle he had living with Bruce.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the other thing that's different in this book is Brett and I both wanted to bring kind of an everyman approach to Nightwing. It's a little bit Spider-Man if you think about it, But he's living with a roommate now. He doesn't have the resources and the funding that he had prior to coming to Chicago. He lost the money he had personally in Amusement Mile. The insurance company covered the bank loan, but that was the deal that he got into, which is that they're not going to cover any of his funding. And then, the relationship with Bruce isn't what it was. And on top of that, I don't call my parents every time I need something, So Dick, out on his own in Chicago, it is a little bit what you said earlier, where it's, removing from a shadow, but yeah, I mean that obviously wasn't the main reason to do it, but yeah, and he's living in Wicker Park, and everyone in the supporting cast that we're bringing in, even the new villains, are all there's a sense of energy behind each one, and it's something that Brett brings to the book in spades, and a lot of my choices and decisions that I'm making are to suit, what Brett's strengths are. And so it's creating a really cool sense of energy between us in the pages. And, you see it in issue 19, and issue 20 is even cooler. So
that's awesome. Moving to a quote-unquote real town, is that going to be sort of reflected in the villains that he faces? Are there going to be a new sort of rogues gallery? How's that going to work going forward?
Well, yeah. Well, there's a couple things. The first is that there's a mythology with Chicago in the DC universe that we're building, which is that there haven't been masks there in several years. So the reason for the lack of masks and what happened to them, i.e. they're all dead, is something that's going to be coming into play as Nightwing goes forward in the series. So there's that. In addition to that, we've got the prankster, who is someone that's been slowly developing a plot in the city prior to Nightwing's arrival there. And once Nightwing shows up, as you see in issue 19, there's an interesting escalation that happens where 12, 15 hours later, the prankster is wearing a mask and torturing a city alderman. And that's just the beginning of his plot against the city. And when you see his motivations, I think it'll make sense why we picked him for the story of Nightwing coming to hunt Tony Zuko.
That's awesome. One last question. I guess when Nightwing does order his Italian beef, is he going to dip it or double dip it, or what's the in continuity answer to that question?
I think he's a dipper.
Yeah?
I could see him as a dipper, yeah.
He goes for the full bore.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, if you're going to do it, you got to do it right.
That's the spirit, and you've been doing a great job on the book. You've been on for, like, a while.
Yeah, I've been on since issue 1.
Especially all the shifting. What do you credit sort of your longevity on the book?
I don't know. We did 2 issues with Tom DeFalco for issue 13 and 14, so I could kind of take a look at what we were doing with the book and really assess what was working, what wasn't working, and get ready for Death of the Family. But during that time, I also was able to develop this whole storyline of heading to Chicago and a new kind of fresh take for the series. And I'd probably credit that. I mean, just the fact that the book's exciting, it's new. Not to say that other books aren't. I mean,
right.
But yeah, I think we're constantly kind of changing and trying to refine things, and so far so good. So really, it comes down to the fans, and thankfully they've supported us the whole way.
Awesome. Well, thanks for talking to us, and you guys stay tuned for plenty more from C2E2.